Hello everybody, this is Stormy from Storm Reads and welcome to my channel. And yes, you will go to notice that I have the same shirt on from this previous video, and that's because I am trying to do a lot of these videos in a row so I can get them edited and get them up before the end of the year, or at least early in the first of the new year. So this video is going to be about my most disappointed reads of 2019. Not to say that they were all, like, horrible or anything. I mean, because there are some that have been given 3 stars, but most of these were probably 2 stars or lower. And they were just books that I really thought I was going to enjoy, and then I just didn't like them too much. And the first one was probably my most disappointed out of the whole bunch. And that's the Vanishing Stairs by Maureen Johnson. This is the second one in the Truly Devious series, and I really liked Truly Devious, and it had a cliffhanger ending, and so I knew I immediately wanted to read this one, and I did, and it was okay, and it got 3 stars, but it just seemed like it rehashed the first book, and it didn't really bring a whole lot of uniqueness or difference. It kind of, I guess, maybe suffered from second book syndrome. Just didn't do it for me. I guess maybe because I already knew a lot about what was going on from the first book, and it was just hard to maybe make a mystery trilogy like this work very well. Yes, there was another murder to solve, but it just didn't seem like it was that different from the first book. It did end on a cliffhanger, and Stevie does know who the Truly Devious is. She's pretty sure, so of course, I did have to put the third one, the last one in the trilogy, on my most anticipated reads, because I am very excited to find out what happened and who Truly Devious really is. And so for that, alone, I am excited to read the next one. I just hope I like it more than I did this one. Okay, this next one I thought sounded really cool, and I do believe I am kind of in the minority on this one, and because I know a lot of people have really enjoyed it, but I just wasn't a big fan of The Devouring Grave by Christine Lynn Herman. It was just too slow for me, and by the time it got to some more of the interesting stuff at the end, it had just been too slow for me to really give it more than about 2 stars. It just didn't work for me. I didn't like it. It's very atmospheric, and I think that's probably why a lot of people have enjoyed it. It's just wasn't a book for me. And this one was about 4 founding families and about this woods that they call the Gray, and Violet moves there. She didn't know that she was part of this founding families and everything, and so a lot of stuff gets kind of thrown at her and everything, but getting to the good part, which was probably the ending, it was just too slow of a burn for me, and I just didn't like it that well. Am I curious about the second book? Kind of. Am I anticipating it, or am I looking forward to it? Not so much. If I do, I will probably see if I can get it from the library, but it's not going to be one that I am going to be just looking out for. If I think about it and I feel like I want to, I may try the second book, but it's not really high up on my list of priorities to read. So this next one I was also kind of super disappointed in. And this one is The Girl in Red by Christina Henry. I've only read one other book by Christina Henry, and that was Lost Boys, and I absolutely love that book. I give it 5 stars. So I was really looking forward to a Red Riding Hood retelling. And I thought this one sounded pretty good because it was kind of a post-apocalyptic, and the girl, she's disabled somehow. I can't remember exactly what it is, but she does have something. She's missing a leg. Yeah, so she has a fake leg. That's what it was. She has a prosthetic. And so I thought that was pretty interesting and everything. And overall, I did like the character Red. I liked her. But too much of it was just her tramping around in the woods and nothing happening. And they did have flashbacks to, like, before they had a before and an after. So like before the crisis happened with her family and her getting prepared, because she just knew something bad was going to happen. So she was preparing herself and everything for having to do this trek to Grandma's house through the woods and everything. But the journey just was too slow for me. It wasn't interesting to me. I mean, some things interesting did happen along the way, but there just wasn't enough. I thought there would be a little bit more action. I thought it would be a little darker. There would be some wolves that she was going to have to slay. I mean, it is Red Riding Hood, you know. There wasn't enough fighting action for me, I guess. And so I was disappointed, but I know a lot of people really like this book, and so, you know, it was more of a me, not the book. I had more expectations for it, and it just kind of fell flat. This author I am kind of hit or miss with. I haven't read a lot of his books, but I can tell he's going to be just one of those that it just depends on how it flows and how much action and gore and things that are in his book. But I didn't like The Sorrows by Jonathan Jantz. And then last year I read The Siren and the Spectre, and I really liked it. And I also read another one of his books this year called The Dust Devils, which I absolutely enjoyed, gave it 4 stars. This one, on the other hand, got 2 stars. It was really slow. I didn't like any of the characters. They could have all died and I would have been happy. There was no character growth for me, or I didn't think. And it was just really boring. They were on this island, and there is this creature there, and the island itself seemed to be alive, and I mean, a lot of interesting things happened. It was gory in places, and I did enjoy that part, and there were parts that I did like. It's just overall, it was just too slow. I thought I was never going to get through it, and the ending just wasn't really all that great. And there is actually a sequel to this, and a friend of mine read it, and she hadn't read this one, but she read the sequel, and she enjoyed it well enough, but I'm not sure if I will ever enjoy it well enough to give it a try. But I will try other books from him, but just maybe not the sequel in this one, because I didn't like this. This author is also kind of hit or miss. I think a lot of the problem is her young adult mysteries. They seem to all just be really simple and done before, and all kind of the same. And so The Lonely Dead by April Henry just didn't really do it for me. It was short. It was about a girl who could see the dead, so it's not like it's something that's been done before. It's been done or something unique. It's been done a lot. The girl that she could see was her ex-best friend, and she wanted her to help her figure out what happened to her. And she's been taking medicine because her father thinks she's just crazy because she can see the dead, and so she always tries to keep it under wraps so that nobody knows. And she always thought if she just didn't pay attention to the dead, they wouldn't pay attention to her. And it was okay. It was just a basic YA mystery. It just didn't have that wow factor to put it up over like a 2 stars. It was just not as good as I was hoping it was going to be. Another one that I thought was going to be cute, but I just didn't really care for was, can't really see the title, but it was The Bone Garden by Heather Kastner, I believe you say. And this one just, I don't know how to say it without it sounding horrible. It makes me sound, but I don't really see the point of the book. I didn't find it very entertaining, and I guess some people, some people really enjoyed it, so there must have been some appeal to it, but it just, it was about a girl made out of bones, and her creator was very mean, and one day she tells her, because she did something bad, she tells her that she's going to unimagine her right out of existence, and it scares the bone girl, and so she runs off into this tunnel, and meets another bone child and finds out that it was the one that the creator had talked about from previously. Didn't know that he was even still alive, and they're just trying to keep away from the creator. And yeah, that, you know, it just, there wasn't nothing there, and I didn't like it. And I gave it 2 stars, but I think, you know, after thinking about it and coming up with this list, that it probably was more of a 1-star read. I just wasn't nothing there for me. Other people have liked it. I just didn't. With this book, it's really good that I already have read this author previously, and that I know that I enjoy his books, because some of his first work wasn't very good. Because this book was made, I think, 1976 or 78. Anyway, I was reading this for a decades challenge and read a horror book from the 1970s. And so I picked Dean Koontz's The Face of Fear. This book is horrible. It's absolutely horrible. It's about a psychic who, he becomes psychic after he had an accident of mountain climbing, and he fell so many feet and it was injured, and now all of a sudden he can see things. And so he's helped the police quite a bit. And this one, he's getting really close to finding out who this butcher guy is, and so of course this guy wants to kill him. And so it's a winter setting, and there's like a blizzard out, and him and his girlfriend are trapped in the skyscraper, and the killer is in there with them. And they're like the only ones in this skyscraper, and the only way to get out of here is he's going to have to face his fears, because they found some mountain climbing equipment, and they're going to have to climb out a window and go down the skyscraper on the outside to try to get away from this guy. Seemed really unrealistic to me, and I just can't see why they couldn't get away from one guy in this big building. So, but that was one thing. But it was the way that he portrayed the detective in this story is what I hated. Made the detective sound like he was so stupid, that like he couldn't think for himself, and that he was always apologizing because he should have been able to do better, and all these things, and it just made him really stupid, and I didn't like that. And I don't feel bad saying that this was a bad book, because I read the I think it was a foreword in the book, and he wrote this under a different name, Brian Coffey or something like that. And it was one of his first books, and he pretty much says it's crap too, and he knows it is, so I don't feel bad saying it is, but, I mean, you know, it was one of his first works, and I know he got better, so that's good. If I had never read Dean Koontz before, I may not want to ever pick him up again after reading this book, but because I do know that he does write good books, that I'm not, you know, I don't feel bad saying that this was a bad book, because it really was a bad book. I would, if I'm going to have to say I have a worst book, this book will be it. Me and my friend Buddy read this, so she will agree with me, because we both hated it. And that is In the Valley of the Sun by Andy Davison. And this was just horrible. It's supposed to be a vampire novel. It's a vampire horror novel. It was not scary. There was not much vampire action going on at all. It was about a guy named Travis, who is not a guy, he's not a nice guy. He picks up a woman, just picks up the wrong woman. She bites him and makes him into this vampire type thing. I mean, it's not really actually like an actual vampire. I don't know what she was, but she was some kind of thing, but it's kind of like a vampire. It was just horrible. Slow. We thought we were never going to get through it. I almost DNF'd it, but I kept thinking maybe it was going to get better. But it was horrible. And the ending was just not even all that great either. This is the worst book of 2019. I absolutely hated it. And I wanted to love it. Look at this cover. It's awesome. Love the cover. I'm a little leery of trying this author again, but I do want, he has one that's coming out that I kind of want to try. But if it's at the library and I can get it, I might get it. I don't know. But yeah, slow. If you don't know anything about me now, you do know it now that I don't like a slow book. I need some action. I need some flow. This one didn't do it. It was horrible. There we go. I do have a bonus book, and it's more of a series. That's why I'm just putting it on here, because I was disappointed in the whole actual series that I read. I read all 4 books in this Cozy Mystery series this year, and the reason I was really disappointed in it is because you will have noticed that I have mentioned this lady, the author duo that I in my favorites book series. I really love the Sophie Kimball books, and Molded for Murder was on my favorites list. This is their other series, and it's called the Wine Trail Mystery Series, and this is the first one, and it's Pinot Red or Dead. Or no, this isn't the first one. This is the second one. It's just I had this one already on my Kindle. So their first series was so funny, and there was so many laugh out louds, and it flowed really well. And so I just knew I was going to love this series. I don't know anything about wine. I mean, it's about wine, but I don't think you really need to know anything about wine to enjoy. But it just didn't have that quality that the first series had. So it's my fault. You know, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be just, you know, as fun and as laugh out loud funny as the first series, and it's not. So overall, I mean, as a series, all 4 books, I'd give it like a 3.5. It did get better as I went, but overall, I was just disappointed. And so that's why I decided to put it on my disappointed list, because as a whole, I was disappointed. And so there you have it. All of the books that I was disappointed in, that I was really hoping to enjoy, but I didn't, in 2019. Hope you liked this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Hit the bell notification, all that jazz, and I will see you next time. Bye.